forest garden designing today, so I'm just getting cracking with the design for a client over in Carmarthenshire. And I just wanted to talk about the areas, how I actually approach how I approach the design process. So what I have spent a lot of time doing the last will be the subject of this week's live stream actually, is measuring up. So taking a rough print, taking a print out, and then getting figures and triangulating the different points so that you get accurate measurements for all the kind of key points, which are trees, the boundary, and the house. Basically, you're working from the house is the most reliable thing to work from. And once I've done that, I've got enough detail. It's not massively accurate, but there's enough there to get a sense. Because I'm going back to the site, I will be measuring again and trying out different beds in different positions. So done the measuring, and now the idea is to get the beds into place. So what I've done in CAD, I've used the offset tool, which is can I show? Is it going to show it for me? No. Oh, good lord. Oh, it's a bit slow. It's a bit slow because it's not very happy. Oh, sorry. It's slow because of the live streaming. OF offset. Okay. And what this tool does, I've just gone around, and what I've done with this tool offsets an existing line. So it's really great. What I would always recommend doing, unless you have bramble-free hedges, which we definitely don't, I would always have a path around the edge of the property. So there'll be like a border path. And I would make this at least the width of one lawnmower. So in one pass, you can do it at least in one pass, probably two passes. So like about 0.5 to 0.8 meters wide. And I've created a path going around here, so I'll make it 0.4. I've made it 0.4, and then if you can see let me see if I can zoom in. Yeah, 0.8 meters. And that's how much it offsets the boundary by, and then I've got it to offset in the middle. So you can see there, I've offset it in the middle. It comes on the inside. So this is the boundary path. The next thing that I did was to create a shape. Slow computer. I have created a shape with the spline tool, and this is like creating curves. This is how you create curves in CAD, and yeah, it's kind of fairly, it takes a while to get used to how to draw them. So I've used a spline tool, and I've created this curve here with two control points on it. And essentially what I'm doing is there's kind of four main areas. So this area here will be the vegetables. This area here will be the ornamental part. This area here will be some fruit trees. This area here, not 100% sure. And then you've got the patio down here. So that's the kind of rough layout of the land. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 kind of areas. And what I find very useful is to actually define the areas first of all. So I've put the path in around the outside, which I will tidy up later on. And then I will create use existing paths really, because if they fit, then they're kind of, this is where people naturally walk, so they're actually a very good indication of the way to go. So I will be putting paths in on this natural path. There's a natural path from this gate all the way down here to the raised bed, and then there's a natural path. There's a path that goes around the lawn bit around here. I'll change this a little bit. So what I'll probably do is something along. I'll do it properly after the live stream. But what I'll probably do is to use a circle tool and do something like, and then you make it something like that. And because firstly, it's easier to measure up a circle rather than in a regular shape, because you've got a central point and you get a bit of string and you can measure it. And it just creates, as soon as you start creating geometric shapes in the garden, just look at the garden designer John Little's work, then it gives the sense of intent and it kind of smartens everything up. So it's easier to mark out. And also, and it's easier to draw. but I kind of like it here anyway, because this is kind of echoing here. It's the idea is to create a sense of an amphitheatre, like a bowl or a theatre at the back, in the back garden at this point, and it's kind of focused in on the house. So there'll be a seat at the front, and then it'll mirror the house. So it'll be a sunnier part than the house, and you can access it from the patio. And then I will put beds in beyond it. So it's defined by the path. So it's kind of nice. It's kind of like really, really interesting thing. So I'll use a simple shape like a circle and then work from that. And then I'll put. Obviously, there are paths coming in from this gate here, and I'll put in different paths. Just kind of twist the shape a little bit, but keep that sense of kind of symmetry. So that's like a really kind of focused part of the garden. And yeah, so that's that part. And then I will, when I've done that, this is what's so nice. Once you get your setup, once you get your kind of basic structure in place, what is so nice, so you can then really easily create beds around it. Now, for this garden, a key objective for this garden is that it's low maintenance. And one of the things I found through bitter experience is unless you make the garden accessible, you won't go there. And if you don't go there, then you don't maintain it, basically. And that's happened a lot. I know that I've had a lot going on the past year, but that's happened with our first forest garden. So the real idea for this is to keep those beds accessible with paths and keep them relatively narrow. So here I am thinking that the idea is to use grass paths. Firstly, it kind of looks nicer. They're lower maintenance once the ground cover gets established, and then over here, because there's more perennial vegetables, the idea is to use wood chip paths on the kind of perennial veg area. That requires slightly kind of more maintenance for the paths in some respects, because you want to be doing a bit of weeding, but then you're out with that's where you will be doing that kind of thing anyway. So on this side, the lovely thing then is if I use the offset tool. Oh, it's gone and crashed. But what I was going to do is use the offset tool at a set width, and then it will offset the circle, and you can come in concentric circles, and the width of the beds will be around about, I'm kind of thinking about that 1.5 meter, possibly up to 2 meter width. See how it goes, see how it feels with the plants that are going in, and this way, yes, you have got a lot of paths and there's not that much stuff going in, but it's far more they're easier to access, and they're easier to maintain. So that's the idea. I would show you, but I've just crashed CAD. There we go. Okay, I was going to show you how to stitch lines together, but I'll do that another time. So I hope that's kind of interesting. This is what I've been up to. I actually kind of really enjoy this process, and all the while I'm thinking about which plants will go in. So taller plants on the northern boundary, Italian alder. I really, it's nice to get trees in that don't take up too much space. So Italian alder on a northern boundary, even if you're not using them as a windbreak, you can still use them for fertility, and they're great plants because you can take off the lower branches, and they're very what's the word? There's a word for meaning upright. They're very upright. Let's use the word upright. They're very upright trees, and they don't cast so much shadow. So they're like lovely trees to have. And then I'm thinking about fruit trees down here, and then I'm thinking about curved beds here with perennial veg, with allium beds at the front because they need more. Generally, alliums and want more sun. And I'm thinking about just kinds of species and sizes, shapes, and species all kind of churning around in my head whilst we're going through this process. The tricky bit, which is going to be exciting, is how to get the patio working as a kind of more useful space, and also in a more ornamental space as well. So that will be the subject for another live stream. Anyway, I hope that's of interest to you. Live stream on Wednesday. Crikey Moses, it's the day after tomorrow. The live stream on Wednesday is going to be all about measuring up. So I'll be showing you how to create a plan in the first place from a satellite photograph as a guide, print that out, and then use it as a guide, and then take measurements from there. And yeah, I'll get something together for you then. So Wednesday, 10 o'clock, British Summer Time, Cardiff time. Hopefully see you then. Cheers then. Bye. Whoa.